Yeah, I need this. Originally, I was not going to be doing this kind of review for the Mario movie, but having talked about it twice before, talking about the voiceover, and then realizing that I had a lot more to say about the movie than just the voiceover, and then I was about to do just a regular in the booth kind of video, but then my roommate, my brother, said that it was an isekai, and I was like, this is true, this is a thing. Might as well. Let's crack this bad boy open. Besides, I haven't done one of these in a while. There's only one. I've only done one. I've recorded multiple. I just didn't finish editing them because like it just wasn't. Some of them were just not that good. Or there was a follow-up season that kind of negated some of the things that I said. And I knew some people were gonna be like, actually. So I was like, I'll wait. But this is going out. Today we're talking about the Mario movie, which I already know what I'm gonna have as the title for this video, and it's definitely gonna be clickbait. It's not that bad, but I still have so much to say about this movie. I mean, by the end of it, you're just gonna see. You're gonna see what my thoughts are. Couple things I want to put out there. Number one, I know it has great reviews. Tons of people are loving it. My brother, who has kids, loves it. And I know everyone's gonna be like, well, why are you gonna be bitching and complaining? It's a kids movie. First off, hold it right there. No movie company makes kids movies anymore, okay? Kids movies are like Peppa Pig. All right? Nobody really makes those and puts those in the theater. You want to know why? Do you want to know why things like Peppa Pig and any of those other actual kids movies don't actually go to theaters? Because it's box office poison, okay? They don't make kids movies. They make family-friendly movies, okay? Movies for everybody. That's the pitch. Every single major movie theater wants to make movies for everybody. Why? Because they want to get as much asses in seats as possible. If they narrow it down to kids movie, an actual kids movie, then very few people are gonna go see it. You wanna know why? Because adults won't be able to stomach it. They can't stand kids movies, and they can't just send their kids by themselves to go see it because God only knows what's gonna happen. They're gonna wander into the streets, they're gonna find a pirate who's gonna take them off on an adventure, and then they're gonna die fighting Davy Jones. Whatever happens to kids when parents aren't watching them. Pennywise, or I don't care. But all that said, I have a lot of thoughts about this movie. Now, here's the summary, okay? It's offensively tame. That's the best I can say. It's offensively tame, which kind of sums up the majority of my criticisms about this movie, is because obviously we're in a weird universe right now where people can get offended about anything, literally anything. Even people that don't even go see the movie will just bitch and complain and moan and gripe about every little thing. And it's insane. And studios want to kowtow to everybody. They want to kowtow to as many people as possible. And this, I think, is a prime example of a studio that basically they kind of like try to not offend anybody. They didn't push any boundaries. They didn't push anything. And I'm not saying that they needed to like do something crazy like Princess Peach being black or Mario being gay or they needed to have blood and gore or like they needed to like salute the American flag or something. They didn't need anything like that. But because they kind of tamped it down so much, there's essentially nothing there. There's hardly anything in the movie at all. Now, I know you're probably thinking it's a Mario movie. The plot to a Mario game is the same every time. Kind of, for the most part, yes. But I think some of the games do the plot better than the movie because there's stakes, there's consequences, there's an objective, there's goals, actually like development in the games. There's nothing in the movie. Now, first, before I get too deep into the things that I really hate about the movie, let me go ahead and cover the things that are the voiceover stuff, because that's the first thing that I was like talking about when I was talking about the trailer. And let me just say, Chris Pratt being Mario is fine. It's fine. I still think Luigi, the guy who does Luigi's, let me pull it up because I know someone's gonna gripe and moan. Charlie Day. from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think he was probably one of the better voiceover portrayals. I also think Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach. Why hyphens? Why has everybody got hyphens nowadays? Anyway, I think they were great. I didn't notice any problem. There was no problems. They did the characters totally fine. Even the portrayal of Mario was great from Chris Pratt. It had some stuff where it didn't really feel like Mario. It felt more like a cartoony version of Chris Pratt, but that's fine because Mario is kind of bland. He's kind of an everyman kind of thing. He's supposed to be like, you can put your personality on Mario. By not originally giving Mario too much of a distinct personality, other than he wants to save the princess and he's kind of the good guy, they didn't give him really too many things. They kind of left him a little bland so that, you know, you kind of felt like, oh, I'm Mario playing the game. But by doing that, they kind of take a whole lot away from who he is as a set character before the movie. Thus, they had to put in a whole bunch of stuff that isn't there into the movie in order to have a movie. But with Luigi, however, Luigi is kind of set in stone. Luigi is a very solid, well-established character. Luigi, I mean, he's a coward. Which is fine. It's totally fine to have a coward character. That's not a problem. It's totally fine to have a coward character. The problem that I have in this movie, though, even though I think his portrayal is done well, I think his writing is bullshit. I think it's almost all the characters' writing is bullshit. I think it's all terrible. Couple reasons. Luigi has no development. Neither does Mario. I think Bowser's the only one with development because he goes from being hopeful and powerful to being weak and defeated. It's the only one who has like a turn. Everyone else basically is the exact same from beginning to end. But the voices of Mario, Luigi, and Peach are still great. Jack Black, he still sounds like Jack Black. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people that, apparently there's a lot of Jack Black stans out there. People that really, really simp over Jack Black. And I get it. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. He absolutely does. I'm not shitting on him as a person. I don't think he has range. There, I said it. I don't think he has range at all. I think he's done one romantic comedy, and then everything else has been he plays Jack Black. That's pretty much it. Even in the Goosebumps movie, where he's supposed to be playing this actual person, someone who actually exists, he just plays Jack Black. Why? I will give you this. In Kung Fu Panda, he seems different. He doesn't seem like Jack Black nearly as much. And there was one video game, I can't remember the name of it, where he is like a heavy metal rocker and it's like an open world. It was like Xbox or something, like Xbox 360 or something like that. It was a good game. He did the voice of the character there, and I think he did a good job. But outside of those four things, which all 100% still sound like him, by the way, he doesn't do voices. He doesn't have a lot of range. And so the only character with true development to give to the one person who doesn't really have that much range felt weird to me. Again, I'm not saying Jack Black is terrible. I just think he's overrated. I think he's overrated. To be honest, if I had a choice between him and a lot of other people in Hollywood, I would 100% prefer him because he's at least not toxic, okay? He's at least not toxic. But it just sounds like Jack Black. So the major problem that I have with on a voiceover level, this is mostly just talking about voiceover right now, is the fact that he does kind of this low voice thing. He tries to kind of do a low voice to do Bowser, but it's constantly slipping. It's constantly slipping between sounding just like him, just going, oh yeah, and then just trying to like do the voice. It's not consistent. If he's not able to do a consistent voice that doesn't sound like him, just have him sound like him. That's basically what they did with everyone else. Why? Why even have him try to do a deeper Bowser voice? It just sounds like him. I can hear them trying, and it's not consistent, and it fails, and it misses the landing. Just have him sound like Jack Black, because he already just sounds like Jack Black. I think the only person in the actual cast lineup who actually doesn't sound like themselves, actually there's a couple, but as far as like the celebrities, the guy who plays Toad, Keegan-Michael Key, I hope I'm saying that right, from Key and Peele. I love him. He's a great actor, especially in his comedy. I haven't seen too much where he does drama. I don't know much about that. But I will say that when I heard Toad, it didn't sound like him. His style of humor and kind of the way he says stuff, obviously they're pitch shifting him a bit, but for the most part, it was good. It did sound like Toad without being hello, like that thing that everyone does. And it was a good choice. I think it was a good choice. He did have a lot of energy. However, Toad is useless. He's useless in the movie. He serves no function at all. Completely pointless. So the fact that one of the characters, the one that sounds the most unique and the most like the character and the least like the celebrity, has almost nothing to do with the movie at all. Pretty much his only function is taking Mario and walking him to the kingdom, which, by the way, is the only visible building and city for thousands of miles. Mario didn't need his help. You could see it through the mushrooms. It's huge. You could see Princess Peach's castle. It's right there. He didn't need Toad to take him there. He serves no function. Take Toad out, nothing changes. And I hate that. I hate that in any movie. When you take a character out who's named and who has a lot of screen time, and you take them out and they mean nothing, it's a huge waste. Give them something. Here's a great way. So you take a character and you start asking a butt ton of questions. By the way, I haven't even gotten to the characters that I hate the most. Take a character, ask a whole bunch of questions like, what do they want? What can we not see that goes on in their life? Ask a whole bunch of questions. What are their fears? What is it that they personally need to accomplish? There's none of that with Toad. There's hardly that with any of these characters except for Bowser. Really offends me. Now, to be fair, I have the full list of the cast in front of me, and there are tons of great voice actors that I truly, truly love, and some actors that I adore in this film. I'm not gonna go down to every single one of them, but I am gonna, and most of the time I'm just gonna be talking about the characters, not really their portrayals or anything like that, because we'd be here for days with me trying to struggle to pronounce most of these names. So that's Toad. That's kind of a brief of Mario and Luigi, which I will get to again later on. There's two characters that I think are horribly voice acted and terribly miscast and serve zero function in the movie other than to frustrate me, apparently. And that is Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Sr., Cranky Kong. Basically all of the Kong. Take all the Kongs out of the film. They suck. They're pointless. They suck. I hate them. Oh my God. These are the worst. Okay, so compared to Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong, every other voice, every other character, every other portrayal is a masterpiece. Insert great director name here, film kind of cast. Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong suck ass, and I hate them. There, I said it. So here's what really truly frustrates me about the Kongs, and I'm gonna go deep into that. Actually, before I even cover that, I want to talk about my favorite voice, my favorite character, my favorite voice, favorite portrayal, and that's going to be the little star. I'm trying to find it on here, and I absolutely have no idea who the voice of the star is. The little blue, you know what I'm talking about. The little cute psycho, and it's not listed on here, so I have no idea, but that's my favorite character. I could have done an entire movie with just that character. That's how funny and well-written that character is. But that's it. That's because I know what the character wants. They want death, the sweet release of death. The comedy was perfect. The portrayal was perfect. And even though they serve no function in the movie, at least it's not a lie saying that they do. This is a character that's established, doesn't have any significant value in the film, and that's fine. At least we don't have the expectation of it meaning something. So that's my favorite. Second favorite is Kamek, Bowser's wizard bestie. Just because he's Kevin Michael Richardson, one of my favorite voice actors of all time. The guy is phenomenal, and he has a lot of range, and so it doesn't sound like him. And the character's hilarious, and the character's funny and well done, and even though, like, I don't know much about Kamek. I don't know much about that character, technically, in the Mario lore, so there wasn't an expectation as to how that character is to be portrayed, but it was still well done, and it was still very funny, and the character actually had value in the movie. Without him, things would be different. If Bowser did not have Kamek, there was a lot of things he couldn't have accomplished. So the character actually has value. Take Toad out, nothing changes. You take Kamek out, and things change. So the character has value, is done well, well portrayed, well voice acted, takes a very close second to the star, but the star is the star of the show. I just realized. I don't know why it took me a while to get there, but I did. So those are my favorites. And yes, they do actually have the original voice of Mario in the movie. I don't remember who the character he plays. He's kind of like a old looking original portrayal of Mario kind of character. And I do like that they did give him a role. They gave him some value, and they did make his, you know, his character kind of like front and center in a scene. They acknowledged, like, he wasn't like buried in the back. He's not like some random extra in a scene that could literally be cut out. No, he's like right there front and center, like in the scene. You know that's the original voice of Mario. Not the original voice of Mario, but he's the guy who's most famous for Mario. That's him. And he's in it, and I respect that. However, again, didn't really add anything to the film. I really wish it did. I actually would have preferred him as the father of Mario and Luigi. That would have been better. And just take out that character and just give more screen time to the family. Because they have like, what, 2 scenes? And they're supposed to have like some kind of emotional significance. They don't. They have no emotional significance at all, which is going to be a constant gripe. Again, there's so many characters in this. There's so much opportunity, and they do nothing with any of it. So now let me get to my serious gripe. And here's one of my big gripes. So here's what Nintendo has done. They made this Donkey Kong's canonical laugh. That's his laugh now. That's Donkey Kong. He laughs like that now. He laughs like a donkey. He laughs like that in the movie. That's the thing. And Donkey Kong doesn't need to be in the movie at all. 100%. All the way. Cranky Kong, I hate him. He just sounds like a cranky, weird Jew. The voice doesn't match the face. He, again, serves no function, no purpose. They actually spend more time and more writing as far as like Cranky Kong and Donkey Kong's father-son relationship than Mario and his father. Why? Why did we spend time on these characters? And okay, so for those who haven't seen the movie, which by the way, spoiler alert for the Mario movie. Oh my God, here we go. So Mario comes to the Mushroom Kingdom. Him and Luigi get sucked down a pipe. Spoiler, surprise. And then they get separated. Luigi ends up in Horror Town, and Mario ends up in Pretty Color La Village and gets escorted by Toad right up to the princess. Right there. There's no difficulty, nothing. Just, here we go. There's the princess, our most protected individual. There you go. There she is. And there's no issue of him being there, except for like a moment where like other Toads tackle him, but that's immediately disregarded by Princess going, I'm glad you're here. Welcome here, guest. And then it just goes on from there, and then immediately cuts to a training montage, which I assume meant something, I assume was valuable, but the training montage only pays off in the Donkey Kong world, in the Donkey Kong Kingdom. It doesn't actually pay off when it comes to Bowser. You wanna know why it doesn't pay off? Because Mario defeats Bowser with the star, and the power of the star is just kick everything's ass and nothing can touch you. Instead of all the other things like growing and using the cat suit, which fuck the cat suit! Using the cat suit and all the other things. They never have the Tanuki suit, and they use the fire flower and the ice flower, that kind of thing. But none of those, except for maybe the ice flower, actually defeats Bowser. None of it's used against Bowser. So the training montage was just to fight and get the help of Donkey Kong, who serves no purpose at all. No function. None whatsoever. I know what you're doing. Nintendo. I know what you're doing. I know the entire Kong Kingdom setup was just so you could show people the Mario Kart sequence. Like, oh, we gotta take Princess Peach, which by the way, sucks so much ass. They just immediately walk there to the Kongs, and then they immediately get a yes, and they come back, and it's nothing, it means nothing. But so, they go to the Kongs, and then the Cranky Kong is like, oh my God, you gotta fight my son, if you wanna get, that's exactly how he sounds. If you want to get us Kongs to help you, you gotta fight my son. And then he fights him, and then he wins pretty easily. And by the way, I saw what you did. You think I didn't know that they're like, oh, this is like the original Donkey Kong, like the barrel throwing. No. That was Smash Brothers. That was 100% Smash Brothers, because you put the power-ups all throughout it. That's Smash Brothers. I know what you're doing. The same thing with the Mario Kart thing. You're like, oh, remember Mario Kart? We threw this sequence in to remind people that we make Mario Kart. We know you make Mario Kart! We know! You're Nintendo. You make like 7 games. You think we forgot about Smash Brothers and Mario Kart? I know what you're doing. I know what you're up to. You sons of bitches! So then they get the carts so they can race to Bowser. But then they don't even make it to Bowser. And then all of a sudden, Bowser's people just sweep in and just wreck shop. Everyone gets captured. Except for Mario and Kong, who end up in the eel. I guess it's supposed to be the eel from N64. That's what it looked like to me, which, by the way, was genuinely terrifying. Genuinely looked terrifying. Good job on that. You did a great job. It was horrifying, like it was if you first played Mario 64 and you see that thing just come at you. Has the exact same feel. Good job. Dead on that one. Great. But now you have Mario and Donkey Kong in the belly of the eel, having a Jonah in the belly of the whale moment, or Pinocchio or whatever. Insert analogy here. And so then they have this kind of like talking to each other, like trying to like settle their differences. They're strangers. They have as many differences as you would have someone who just you've never met before. That's the differences they have. That's the whole thing. They've never met each other. But then they try to like connect each other by the father thing. But we don't really get, other than one line from the father of Mario's father, that there's any kind of animosity. There's any kind of like difficulty, and it's not played well when you have the scene with Mario and Luigi in Mario's bedroom, living with his parents or whatever. None of that plays well, so it really doesn't matter. And in fact, for the most part, I completely forgot about Mario's family because they spent no time on it. They also don't spend that much time on Cranky Kong and Donkey Kong for me to have any kind of emotional connection to this moment. There's no realization. There's no breakthrough. There's nothing that these characters have earned. Nothing at all. But then they come out of the belly of the beast, where there's like a rocket thing that saves them, and they fly. The rocket takes them all the way to Princess Peach's castle or whatever. Sure, fine, absolutely, fine. And then they get there, and then Mario and Donkey Kong getting power-ups and just wrecking all the Goombas and Koopas and just beating ass. But the entire time I'm watching the sequence, it should have been Mario and Luigi. And then they just start like messing everything up, and then Mario escorts Bullet Bill to like the tube or whatever to the real world, and it blows up, and everyone and everything gets sucked into the real world. Which, by the way, how much from the original live-action Mario movie did they think they could just throw in to this one and we wouldn't notice? It's a lot. The basic core premise is pretty much the same thing. Now, don't get me wrong. They both kind of sum up Mario and his rescuing of Princess Peach and kind of Bowser's goals and objectives, and the fact that it's two brothers. But it's too similar, especially with the ending finale thing. It's very weird. I didn't like it a lot. So that's the movie in a nutshell. Here's where things get interesting, because I really feel, this is why I feel like they missed a lot of marks, and I feel like this movie could have been a whole lot better, and this is why it disappoints me. So we don't really get any time with Mario and Luigi. I think the total number of screen time with Mario and Luigi is a few minutes. It's not a lot of time. Probably the longest section is at the beginning, where they are doing their regular job bullshit, and then when they're like going down into the tunnel. I mean, the first act has Mario and Luigi, but it doesn't have two brothers. You know what I mean? It has Mario and Luigi. It doesn't have two brothers. Now, of course, I'm not a major studio trying to please everybody. I'm not a major studio hiring a whole bunch of people. I'm not a major studio that's trying to juggle a whole bunch of different things in the air and make a movie that's for kids, as well as a movie that's also for adults, that's still faithful to a video game character while, trying to make a profit, by the numbers, and do cookie cutter scripts. I'm not them. I've never been through that struggle. That's fine. But I am a story writer. I am a storyteller. And I do know how to write. First off, we need a whole lot more time with Mario and Luigi being at odds with each other, like brothers often are. As a middle brother with an older brother and a younger brother, I can tell you there is constant animosity. There is constant headbutting. There is constant stress and agony between the two siblings. Always. There's always going to be something. We always get into fights. We always say things that we regret. Constantly. So what I would have done is, Mario is the older brother. He's kind of the gung-ho personality. He wants to like, you know, get in there, get it done, take risks, you know, spend money that they may not be able to get back, you know, pyramid schemes and all this kind of stuff. Like he really wants to make a name for himself, but he's not very, you know, calculated. He's not very intelligent. He just kind of runs in, which is perfect for the personality of Mario. And they do kind of do that in the movie. It's just not to a level that actually builds any kind of tension and actually shows character growth. And then you have Luigi, who's more calculated, who's more reserved and you know, definitely wants to do everything by the books. He's the one who actually is looking at the books. He's noticing stuff is in the red, and he's like, Mario, we need to make a profit. Like, we're really kind of like, he went into this business with his brother, and now he's feeling the stress of being financially, you know, burdened. And his brother, Mario, is like, don't worry, everything will be fine. Also, I think I forgot to say this. The Mario accent makes no sense because they just have Chris Pratt talk like Chris Pratt with no actual accent, but he still says things like, let's-a go, with the in the middle. And that only makes sense if you're doing the Italian thing, let's-a go. But if you just go, let's-a go, it sounds stupid. So either do the accent or don't. So then you have them kind of doing their business stuff. They're kind of like trying to figure out how to make a profit. And they're like, we need a good job. And they finally get that big good job with like the rich people. And it's like, oh, we're gonna make enough money to like get us out of the red, that kind of thing. And so they go, but Luigi doesn't want to do it for whatever reason. He's terrified of something involving that particular job. Now, yes, you could actually make it the fact that they have a dog, and he's terrified of pretty much all animals and all things. He's, you know, and you could have it, they have a dog, and he sees that and he's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do that. I'm scared of dogs, and I'm scared of like animals and creatures and all this kind of stuff. I'm scared of bugs. And Mario's like, don't worry, it'll be fine. And so his fear is very much on display the entire time that he's there, because you can see the dog's there constantly. And so his fear is actually what kind of ruins the whole job, ruins the entire job, and everything goes to shit. And so now you have them at odds. So Luigi blames Mario because he didn't want to take this job because it had, you know, something that he's terrified of, and Mario is like, we could have made money, but it's your fear getting in the way. And so they're both like at each other, like one of them's jumping in too fast and the other one's terrified of everything. So you have them arguing the entire time, and you have them fighting, and you can have the family dynamic with like the parents and the uncle and the other siblings and all this kind of stuff, but I really don't think it actually adds anything to the movie. So for me, I would actually take it out and just focus on Mario and Luigi. You could have photos of the family in the background, and you could actually have them talk about them like, we took all this money from Uncle blah 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 or our parents and we need to pay them back and I feel terrible. You can have that kind of stuff, but I feel like you're taking a lot of time from Mario and Luigi butting heads and being at odds with each other that, you know, we really need, because we need conflict. So then they have a big fight, and then they see that there's, you know, trouble down in Brooklyn or wherever it was. And so Mario's like, we're gonna go. And he goes, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna, you know, prove to everybody that I can do this and I don't need you, that kind of thing. So he just goes down there. And Luigi notices that he forgot certain tools and he's probably gonna hurt himself. So Luigi like reluctantly goes and follows him. This is of course after they have like a big fight and they say things that they regret, that kind of stuff. So Mario goes down there. Luigi sees Mario go down the tube. He goes down into the sewer, and, you know, tries calling out to him but doesn't. And so Luigi reluctantly follows him in, and is constantly like behind him the entire way. So Luigi sees him get sucked into the tube and gets sucked in as well, but Mario doesn't know that Luigi is behind him, basically. And they still get split up, but they see each other like in the tube, and then they get split up. So Mario knows that Luigi is somewhere in the area. He knows that, you know, he's in the Mushroom Kingdom. And then, you know, Luigi still ends up with tools, and Mario doesn't have any tools, and now they're both in the kingdom. For the most part, that's what I'd change about that. You don't need the bully guy from the beginning. I mean, I guess you could include him. I don't even remember what his name is. The kind of the Chad dude or whatever. You could have him, but the one thing I'd change about him is don't have him side with Mario and Luigi or be like, yeah, immediately be like, you guys are awesome at the very end of the movie. Have him still kind of a dick, and have him really get get embarrassed or get the shit kicked out of him at the end in a very comical way. Just, it's fine. It's fine that it's okay to have characters that are there just to be assholes that don't change. It's totally fine. Because it constantly gives like this kind of like mirror by which you can gauge things, and you can see like, oh, some things are never going to change. So they go, and Mario does stumble around, but he gets lost in the Mushroom Kingdom, and that's when he runs into Toad, who takes him to Princess Peach's, you know, castle. But here's one of the major gripes that I have with the Toads in the Mushroom Kingdom. So there's an entire kingdom that just have almost an infinite number of power-ups. They're just everywhere. You see them walking through the streets. They just grow in fields. They're all over the place. And there's an army. There's millions of toads. Why the hell did Princess Peach need the help from the Kongs? Couldn't she have just given power-ups to the toads? There's no reason they couldn't have. And you already have some of them with spears that are willing to like stand up against Mario and tackle Mario and to protect the Peach. So you do have loyalty and you do have bravery within the toad dynamic. So there's no reason that she would need help from the Kongs. She could have literally just given her own people all this shit ton magic of power-ups, and they would have just wiped the floor with like all the Goombas and Koopas just murdered on the floor, just blood spilled everywhere. It would have been fine. Sure, they would have lost a few of them, but they're already proving that they're brave enough to defend Princess Peach. What I would have done is I would have had it where the toads can't use power-ups. Now, yes, this is obviously contradictory to the games where you can play as Toad and he can get Toad or Toadette and they can get the power-ups. But for the sake of the movie, I would have it where the toads just can't for whatever reason. Only humans or mammals, whatever, can use the power-ups. And so that's why Princess Peach is put on this high pedestal, because she can use the power-ups. She is magical. They didn't even know these things were power-ups. They didn't even know these things had magic in them until she came around, just ate one, and then grew, and now she's like this god to them, which they basically worship her as. So you have it where she has this immense amount of power because of the power-ups. She can use them. Well, now she's excited to see Mario because he's another human. He's another person who can use the power-ups. So now she has backup. So now you actually give a reason and a point and a value to the power-ups, because what we've essentially done is devalued them if everyone can use them. They're not special. They're not special at all. So you do that, and you have it where the toads can't use them. Again, yes, contradictory. Maybe later on they'll find some way of using them, or maybe it's they just didn't have the confidence or whatever. I don't know. They just can't use them. So she needs Mario to be able to use the power-ups. And then she finds out that there's a third human, and that's Luigi. So they go maybe to go rescue Luigi from, like, he's being held in like some other castle, your brother's in another castle. So they go and they try to go rescue him instead of going to the Kongs. And on their way to do that, you basically get the same thing of like Bowser and his people come in sooner than expected. You still bring along Toad. But you give him more to do. You give him more value. And you definitely make him very different from the other Toads in the fact that he's always searching for adventure. He doesn't want the humdrum life. He wants to, explore and do all this kind of stuff, because that's very much like Explorer Toad or whatever. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, so he goes along with them. They find Luigi, but shit happens, and, they get captured. They tried to like sneak in, and they get captured, and Princess Peach, Bowser takes Princess Peach back to Toad Kingdom, and Mario and Luigi are basically captured in this tower, or maybe they threw them into the ocean and they basically got swallowed up by the same thing. Like just basically Star Wars, like puts them in like the pit or whatever. Throws them in there, and they get eaten up inside the belly of the thing. And so then you have them kind of continuing their animosity, kind of continuing their thing. Luigi is extra terrified because he's, everything has been hell for him since he's been captured. Mario, again, had to go face first into all of this to rescue, to try to be the hero and all this kind of stuff. And Luigi followed him. And so you have them kind of make amends on some level. They make some kind of amends. And they do eventually escape. Maybe they find one of the power-ups that's like in there, and they blast themselves out of the creature's mouths. And then Mario apologizes, and they're walking back to the tube. Originally, the idea was like, we can't even save them. We don't even know how. We're not heroes, all this kind of stuff. And they're going back to the tube. They're going to go back to the Mushroom Kingdom, or not to New York. They're going to leave the Mushroom Kingdom. And then they're about to go in, and Mario's like, no, you can go. I have to go finish this, because that's my thing. I've never finished anything. I always start stuff, I make things worse, but I never actually finish it. And so that's what I'm going to go do. You can leave. You need to be safe. Go on without me. I'm going to do this. And so he leaves. And so you leave Mario. So they split up. So now you have a moment where Mario is not dragging Luigi into anything. He's not pulling Luigi along with him into something that's terrifying. But now you also have Mario admitting that he's done something wrong, apologizing, and now going to go finish what he started, to actually actually make a difference. And so you give Luigi the choice to either be scared and leave, or to man up and be a hero and go help his brother. But you leave him not knowing what the status is. So then they go. So Mario trying to show up and trying to get into the castle. And here's the thing. So by establishing the Toads can't use the power-ups, you have this moment where you could have Toad, the lead Toad in the film, remind them that even though they can't use power-ups, they're all captured and like they're in cages, or let them know that even though they can't use the power-ups, it doesn't mean that they're not strong in numbers, that they can't still make a difference. They can still be brave and they can still protect the princess even if they can't use power-ups. All they have to do is join together. And so you have Toad, main Toad, escape somehow through the cages and get to the wizard and basically fight the wizard one-on-one, break his staff, and so now there's no big ultimate weapon that Bowser can use against them as of right now that would just wipe out all the Toads. Because when you see him in the beginning of the movie, which essentially would be the same, where he just wipes out all of the penguins or whatever, but now we can't do that. And so now you have all the Toads breaking free and just fighting in the middle of the street, kind of like you do actually see in the movie, but this time it's more of a rallying cry. You actually gave them some kind of turning point. They don't actually have to worship Princess Peach because she's powerful. They still have power. They still have, agency. They can still do stuff. They don't have to be these small, cute, defenseless things. They just have to, decide to be brave. And it's kind of like the Luigi thing. And so they just start breaking shop. So now you got the entire city in chaos. You have Princess Peach still do the ice flower on Bowser. Mario shows up. They have a fight. They have a tussle. And Mario's just getting the shit kicked out of him. Just constantly just getting wrecked. And then Bowser's about to blast him with the fire, the dreadful, blasting with fire, and Luigi comes in and blocks it and actually saves Mario. They have that scene in the movie, but it has no value, it has no weight, because we've already shown Luigi basically to not be that scared. And there wasn't any reason for you to not expect Luigi to show up. But now you were left with the idea that Luigi was going to leave, but now that he showed up, he chose to be here despite his fears, it means something. It has value. His efforts have value. And he gets knocked out of the way, saving Mario, and he's unconscious, and Mario grabs the flower. Or maybe Mario gets the flower, but instead of him just using it, goes and joint uses it with Luigi to not only revive him, but also so they could go kick Bowser's ass. And they do. And essentially the rest of the movie ends the same way. Them in the shop and, and all this kind of stuff, and them having their new life and all their differences being set aside. But now you've actually set a bar for all of the expectation. You've given everything emotional weight. You've given everyone a turning point. You've had actions that mean things, and you don't have scenes or entire sequences that have no value. You finally get value in all of the scenes. Every character has a turning point. Every character has meaning, and you completely get rid of the whole Kong and the whole Mario Kart thing. Maybe you could have had them. If you really wanted the Mario Kart, you could have had Mario, Luigi, and Toad, or Mario, Princess Peach, and Toad get on carts kind of thing to go to Luigi or whatever. But ultimately, you don't need that at all. You can put that in the next one. You didn't have to cram so much in one effing film. Don't get me wrong, there is one genuine laugh that entire sequence got from me, and that was when the blue shell guy just shows up. That genuinely made me laugh. And still does to this day, because it was, not only did I not expect it, it was well written. His dialogue was very cheesy and very well written, well performed, and it made a lot of sense given the context. So that's the one really good, whoever wrote that particular scene, that particular moment, deserved a raise. The rest of it was garbage. But that one thing was great. But that's it. That's how I would have done the movie. I think the core premise and a lot of the core ideas, basically the plot of the movie is essentially the same. Obviously you get rid of a whole bunch of characters that don't need to be there. You can bring them in the second movie because obviously they're going to be doing a second movie. They made bank on this one, which I know there's going to be a lot of people who's like, well, it made bank, so I guess your criticism. Just because something made bank doesn't mean you can't do better. And again, to the idea of it's a kid's movie, there's tons of movies that are kids movies that have a lot of heart, have lots of emotional weight, have sacrifice, have turning points for characters. Iron Giant, E.T., Treasure Planet. These are all emotionally heavy films. There's tons more, but these are emotionally heavy films and are kids movies, technically family-friendly movies, but so you can constantly push the envelope. You can put significant things in there. And also, if we're talking about kids and if they have siblings, this is a great message for them. It's great for them to learn to get along. Yes, we're different. Yes, it's okay to be, scared or it's okay to like run into stuff. You just need to know your issues. You need to know your problems. You need to deal with it and you need to work together. Everyone has value, even if you're different. That's a great message. Why would you not want to put that in there? Yeah. That's gonna be it. 5 out of 10.